don't lose faith. You do get to change things eventually.
Trust the people around me.
Be a lot kinder to myself. Trust my gut much more. Trust the fact that doing the right things by people does net results. Don't listen to other things. Just trust myself, and just be a bit bolder. Be a bit more myself.
So the first one is that my values absolutely need to be aligned to the organisation I work for. That's a non-negotiable. Otherwise, what's the point? And I think the second one is kind of linked to the other answer, but that I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. I've learned to accept what I can bring to an organisation and equally what I can't bring. And I think when you start to transition into leadership, you put a lot of pressure on yourself that you think you need to have all the answers, and you really don't. And I've learned that I don't, but that I can bring other things. I bring value to the organisation without knowing everything.
Don't be fearful about being myself. Like don't lose that essence of who I am. Don't think that I have to dress a certain way, be a certain way. I don't. I can be really good at my job, and I can look, as long as I'm not looking totally terrifying, I'm generally okay. So don't try and modify and tame it. That's definitely one thing. The other thing in my career, listening to people and finding someone that has my back a little bit, and a coach, and not being fearful to go and ask somebody for that. Is getting a network, whether that's through the NED network, whether that's through work, but keeping contacts. LinkedIn is a fantastic way of doing it, but keeping contacts alive has been so fruitful in a way that I couldn't have imagined when I got told it so many years ago.
The first one would be that empathy is a positive quality. I think that you're very much told that it's not necessarily something that you couldn't write it on a CV, and you couldn't go into a company and be taken seriously if you suggested that this was something that was an extremely strong part of your your professional experience. But it is an extremely positive thing, and something that I will continue to fly the flag for in the future. And the other thing as well is that, and also very related to, is that I have a real passion for positive change. I don't want to miss an opportunity to do something that helps other people.
Hasty decisions. Once you start to realize that you are who you are, you can bring value. You don't need to be at the front of everything and in charge of everything and saying the most and doing everything really quickly and solving everybody's problem. That kind of reflection that avoids the hasty decision has been really helpful for me. I do a lot of self-reflection now, whereas I used to just come straight back,
There are a lot of things, but I think it can be summed up as doubt and fear, and those things being the thing that motivates you and drives you. I don't think it's ever healthy to be driven by fear, and to have that as the sort of fear of failure, or the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of not delivering.
Fear. Worrying about not taking a bold enough risk. I certainly wouldn't. Fear is definitely the thing. Fear of speaking up, fear of speaking out, fear of getting it wrong. Just park that. It's a really short life we all get to live, isn't it? Let's be honest. Even if we get to 100, this part of life is a pretty short life. I mean, I think we can afford to take a few risks. I think I'd park fear. When they say about showing up and being their authentic self, I really want them to be it.
So I think listening and learning I think I really strongly think that, and not just listening, really listening, not even active listening, really listening, almost beyond that, listening and taking action, and considering ethical decision making as part of that as well. And whether that's about how you treat your employees, whether that's about the decisions you make as a business, this is going to be a huge driver for people towards businesses in the future, is how they understand ethics of the company, and that people are listening, older generations that are at the top are listening to the younger generations. And I think that's really important too. And that's one of the ways that we can promote change, is if you change the mindset of what you're doing, and you're able to inject some ethical decision making in that, as well as listening, and really listening to your employees, and listening to the market, and listening to what people are saying, then you create a much better experience for everybody.
Ideally, just focusing on the people.
Says it all.
Yeah, and it's such a simple and obvious thing, but in reality, day to day, it's hard. And if you've got shareholders on your back, or owners on your back to do stuff, not everybody gets this stuff. There are probably more people out there that don't see the benefit. It's so frustrating, because the value of businesses, that the performance of businesses will go through the roof if we were all doing this, if we were all just focusing on the people.